In this video, I just wanted to give an introduction to bind event to nodes. Now, this is a basic introduction. It's something that I'm just starting to look into, but there are a whole host of different bind event to nodes. Now, this is similar to how event dispatchers work, but these seem to be prescribed. These ones are already part of the engine, and therefore you can call upon some of your bind event to nodes to do different things. So here I am just in a blueprint actor, or rather an actor blueprint. Excuse my semantics. And if I right click, and I've got context sensitive on, but if I then write bind to event, you can see that there's a whole host. There is bind event to on actor begin overlap, end overlap, on actor hit. So bear in mind this is actor, not components. Being the actor class, it will be all its inherent components. And then you've got unbind events as well, which if you know about event dispatchers, this is a way of kind of unlinking a particular event. I'll go into that in a moment in my example. Then there's all sorts of other ones related to damage or just the sort of gameplay. If you've got any on-end play events, for example. Just clicking through, you've got some mouse input ones, which we are using here. Bind event to on begin cursor over. Again, this is actor specific. But I'm not going to go into all of those because there's a lot of them. And the point being is that you need to put the kettle on, make a cup of tea, and sit down and look at each of the different event graphs. So obviously we have our actor, blueprint actor event graph. We've got here in the widget designer, there's a whole host of other bind to animation event, etc, etc. I saw all sorts of things. If I unclick that, there was ones for responding to particular events on scrolling boxes. That seems to be a ton. Then there's stuff related to audio. There's then stuff related to the animation. I'm not sure about the anim graph, suspect so, and the animation event graph. So these are ways of kind of piggybacking on events to then trigger secondary events or events in parallel. I'm not sure if that's a clear description, but it is a bit of a head scratcher. So let's start simple. Let me, and only because it's all that I've done, is show you my kind of initial example. So in my example here, I've just got a sphere, which I've got bind test BP1, which is just an actor blueprint with the sphere in, and then I've got a cube behind, which are these two actors. Now, first things first, let's look at the setup actor. So on event begin play, my player controller, I'm just enabling input because I'm just setting set mouse cursor, enable click events, and enable mouse over events to true on the boolean. So there, those three, and then just my set input mode and game and UI. So that we can see our mouse on screen. Now, ignore that. This is what I am doing. So on begin play, we are binding this event, which is a custom event, which just says cube clicked when self, this actor, responds to an on clicked. Okay, now you'll note there's nothing else in here. I don't have the static mesh and then need an on clicked. It works as a top tier, it seems to work. This is what I've ascertained, is that it's the actor, any part of the actor that's clicked is going to print the string cube clicked. Now that's obviously in relation to enable click events. Now here we have enable mouse over event, but there's another event, bind event to on begin cursor over, which we have a custom event, and custom event. So here, for example, I'm just going to show you what I've done here, just for those that don't know. We're all at different stages. So for example there, you just need to plug that custom event into the event. And this is known as a delegate. Anyway, that's another example there. And it's going to say roll over cubed when we roll over the cube. So because these actors are self, it's going to happen on this actor, which is our orbit setup, which is the cube. We have a secondary actor, which is a sphere. So on begin play, again self, just a custom event saying roll over sphere. Bind event to on begin cursor over. Now here, this is where I am now referring to the previous actor. So rather than self, I have put in a reference to our orbit setup actor. I've just made it instance editable so that then I have selected here and pipetted my orbit setup actor, so that reference is allocated. And what I'm doing is on clicked, using a flip-flop, I am printing string to say linked. And by clicking the first time, we are linking this event. So on the previous actor here, orbit setup, we have our on clicked event. So if you recall, we were printing string saying cube clicked. But here we're now also binding an event in this blueprint, bind remote click, to print remote bind local event. So this is binding to the event this is binding to the click in the other actor, i.e. the cube. So we'll already get cube clicked or whatever it says when we click on it, but now we're also going to see remote bind local event. So we'll get both of those print strings, one from the other actor and one from this actor when we click on the cube. And then I've just got a unlinked to undo all that and unbind the event. So it's no longer going to link this to the other actor event. Let me now show you, because that description was terrible. Here we go. So here, roll over cube, roll over sphere. Okay, that's fine. So now, looking top left, if I click on the cube, cube click. If I come here, roll over sphere, linked. So now if I come back, remote bind local event and cube clicked. So we've linked those two actors for the purpose of the demonstration. If I come back, unlinked. And if I come back here and click on the right, it's only the first event because we've unbound the association between the sphere and the custom event being called in the orbit actor. So that is the basic principle. You can call things locally or from another actor, but as I say, it's really worth having a sit down and trawling through and seeing how you can piggyback some of these events, because Blueprint is like learning a new language, and we need the grammar and the vocabulary, so we need to know which nodes exist to help us achieve our goals effectively and efficiently. These predefined bind events are used extensively, so it's something I'm certainly going to spend a bit more time and attention getting to grips with. So I hope that's of use. So I hope that video is of use. If so, please do like and subscribe and hit the notification bell to receive any updates. And thank you for your support.